Hello, hello. Here with the lovely icons. The icons of, all being are here. We already kind of went over why we're here, but we're here with the lovely Kira S. Summers. Look at that beautiful face. Look at that lovely hair. Ooh. And then India just ran to go get a water. We have Brianna Summers. But either way, we'll do a check-in later to tell you how the meeting goes. Go be thirsty. She returned with her water. Show the water. What brand is the water? Non-sponsored. No, keep that hand above it. Thank you. We do not sponsor water unless it's Aquafina. Here, get Kira and Kira. Forward. Okay. You probably said it.
Let's get your finger going.
My favorite outfit.
So I was like, well, that makes sense. She works there anyway. I'll talk to her.
That is right. Okay. Yeah.
Greg is going to, but now Greg and
I am a local documentarian here in the area covering the events of what's going on right now. If you guys don't want to be on camera, I can easily frame you out. Just like give me like a little one of these and I'm happy to accommodate you. It's about telling the story and being respectful. So just call it out, let me know, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. I'm gonna, thank you, because I have this one up here. So I'll sit back here. I don't have another seat. I know you want to sit down. I'm like, I can't, I'm jittery, I can't. Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? Yay! So basically, this meeting today is an expansion on the one we did a week ago, Monday, or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, 2 Mondays ago is what we'll say. And basically what we want to do for you guys is just inform you of what's going on. This journey started out for a lot of us hearing about the drag ban that was going to be proposed that would stop us from performing in any kind of family-friendly capacity and also during the day. It also labels us as live adult performers, which, I mean, of course we are live, we're not Toy Story, but we're not technically in the adult category. But there's a lot of expansion on how that bill came about and what's going on. But when we got up there, our first day, excited to talk in full drag and be warriors for our community, we found out that the assault on our community is far greater. The depth in which they're digging their hands into every aspect of our lives is bigger than any of you can imagine. Hearing that there are 24 bills is one thing. Knowing how the verbiage in each of those bills affects us in our day-to-day lives is even more important. You guys have to understand that they are truly trying to minimize our visibility and erase us from any form of history, any form of visibility in the streets, as well as in schools and in books as well, but even in professions. The bills that they have already passed in the past 2 days have put teachers, health professionals, and businesses on the block having to decide whether they want to keep their licenses, or even parents avoid jail time, felony charges, and fines up to $25,000. Not $2,500, $25,000. These bills are passed. They're in the Senate, and the sad thing is that they're not fully in there, but they're just about in there. We don't have enough Democrats on the seating house to actually help stop them completely. We're going to be hoping on a Women of Prayer that there's maybe 1 or 2, we technically need 6 Republicans to side with us on the next vote that they have. But if we don't get them, you will see the changes starting immediately. Already with the school boards and things like that today, they're already initiating them. The expansions have been passed and they're going through. According to the legislation, which you can all find on your Florida website to get the actual details on that, they show all the amendments that were tried and failed, because no amendments that were made were accepted. So they literally are gung-ho, they're not budging, and they will not back down against us. Even with hearing all the heartfelt stories that we heard from children 12 and up, from parents, from teachers, from ministers, from pastors, from every angle, people came across the entire state and some out of country to come speak in our defense, and they turned them down. They closed their eyes on us, they fell asleep, they went for bathroom breaks, they literally put their heads down and held their heads for every single person that came up. They would not look us in the eyes, they would not listen to us, even though they were forced to stand in front of us. Basically, they knew that no matter what we said and what we did, we had to leave at 5:30, and they were going to vote no. against us. So this is the reality we had to face. Even with the opportunity to sit with other lobbyists, or to lobby and to sit with people, representatives of the houses, they still combated us, and they were not happy. They showed their true faces. They showed that they think less of us, that they think that we are not even on a human basic level of respect, that we don't deserve any kind of praise whatsoever for our struggles, and that our struggles don't matter. They want to completely get rid of any sign of LGBTQ plus at all. And it shows in the bills and how harmful they are. The school bills attack children, they attack teachers, and they say they're for parental rights, but they actually ask you to waive them over when you come to school. They don't give you that control. And then they put you in positions where you may be fighting your other spouses. They put you in positions where other spouses who may not be healthy choices to be around children can come and take your children from you if they're transgender per se. As an example, this is not the full example, but it puts you in a bad place as a parent, making decisions for your kids, knowing the helpless cries that they'll have throughout their childhood to want more and more acceptance. So I have everybody, I call them my 9. You guys will get to know them as the 9 because I brought 9 people with me to the Capitol. We went and started this, myself and Brianna, just us two, hoping to get a couple of hundred bucks to go. With the help of Tampa, we raised over $6,000 and were able to take 9 individuals. And I never thought in a million years that we would have it. We were just gung-ho. We were like literally counting our tips, being like, we got it, we can go. And then companies or groups like Equality Florida stepped in and said they wanted to help. St. Pete Pride stepped in and said they wanted to help. Cityside donated. All of these major places stepped in and made sure that we had the funding to not only go, but we were taken care of while we were there. So it was a really important thing for us to not only feel that, but see what we learned. And now we want to continue the spread of that information and make sure that you guys are empowered and know what's going on. So at this time, I'm gonna stop with my opinions and my feelings, because opinions and feelings don't get shit done apparently. So I have a representative from Equality Florida, my good friend, and the person who got me involved in Equality Florida, Nick Machuca, here to help tell you a little bit more.
Hey everybody, thank you all for coming tonight. I'm Nick with Equality Florida. We're the statewide LGBTQ civil rights organization. Anywhere in Florida where LGBTQ issues are up for discussion, Equality Florida is the organization that is in the room and at the table advocating for our community. So that included in Tallahassee as well, where Angelique and I just got home from. We had a few days of meeting with legislators, testifying in committee hearings, and really bearing it all. And through the process, we sort of discovered that there are a lot of things that these lawmakers don't really know about us. Angelique and I sat in a meeting with a state senator on Monday who simplified us down into who we sleep with. Those were his words, and he said them directly to our faces without shame. And so I think that really underscores the fact that we are dehumanized in their eyes, and what we really need right now is for you guys to come up to Tallahassee and bring those human stories with you. So if you can, go to equalityflorida.org to learn more, to donate to our project of getting people up there for all 8 weeks of the legislative session. Donate to Angelique's fundraiser to get everybody up there. Sorry?
It's 7 weeks now.
It's 7 weeks?
Yes.
Great, yeah, we're down 1 week. So
We might as well buy it.
yeah, the time is very quick. Legislative session is only 60 days of the year. So this is the first time that Equality Florida is actually maintaining a permanent field presence in Tallahassee throughout the entirety of the legislative session. So if at any time over the next 6 or 7 weeks you can go up there, rest assured that there will be people from Equality Florida that will be there to plug you into the process. I left a few flyers here on the middle table. It has a QR code where you can learn about all the days that we're going to be up there and sign up to join as well. And then, like I said, donate to Angelique's fundraiser as well. Do you guys have any questions about the process up there, or sort of what we've been through?
While I mix up here too, because you know the bills, right? So the ones that were asking, if y'all have any questions on those, I think right now while you're up here will be the time to ask.
We'll talk about them like
Yeah.
that we from our perspective. So
Yes.
So let's say someone has 1 or 2 days available next week or the week after, and they are able to drive up to Tallahassee. They get there at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. What do they do to find you?
Perfect. So the question was, if somebody has a few days available next week or any of the following weeks, what do they do to find us? The flyer that I just left on the table over there, and I think you can share it for everybody on Instagram as well. So Angelique will share links for everybody who's zooming in or on Instagram or Facebook. We're asking folks to pre-register with us to let us know when they're available to come and if they can come at all, so that we can ensure that we've got meetings set up for you. If there are any committee hearings that are happening, we can get that information to you and make sure that you have something to do while you're up there. So our team is going to make sure that we're making the most of your time if you are able to travel up to Tallahassee.
Well, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I know you guys keep saying that there's like 24 bills passed.
not passed, maybe we'll introduce.
So yeah, there are a number of bills that, possibly a record number of anti-LGBTQ bills that are introduced right now and that are in motion right now. None of them are currently passed. So the hearings that we sat through and testified in were to advance those bills along the process. We're in a position right now where they can sort of expedite a lot of these bill movements. The hearings that we sat in on, they might be one of only 2 hearings before they go to the floor for a full vote. So these bills are not yet passed, but they're in motion to do so.
So we sat in for 2 committee meetings where both, it was the gender affirming and the Don't Say Gay expansion. We sat in on both of those. They were 3 hours long,
Microphone, maybe,
do it. Do I need it?
for the broadcast?
For our recording devices and the live stream, it'll be easier if you use the PA.
Yeah.
Like, we know that we can all hear you.
Oh, shit. Okay. So,
But they gotta hear you too, bro.
okay. So, the parental rights and education and the gender affirming care. That's what it was. So we sat in those and for 3 hours. It was a long, long time sitting there listening to testimonies. And I don't remember where I was going with this. There was a microphone.
She was asking about how far it's been passed.
Oh, that's right. So it's only the committees. But there was one committee that we served, both of the committees for each bill. It had been passed through them. So they have to go through another committee as well, and then so forth, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Typically,
I know some politics about some politics and stuff. I know, I'm just kidding.
yeah, so typically they would go through 3 different committees, each of these bills, before they go to the House floor or the Senate floor for a full vote. Unfortunately, we're in a position this year where they could exempt them from that last committee, and they may only have to go to 2 before they go to a full vote. So that's why this year is sort of unlike anything that we've ever seen before, and that's why we're organizing and mobilizing as much and as fast as possible.
I'll share the rest later.
I have another question.
Oh, go ahead.
Why do you guys think that they're attacking the community at this moment now?
So they're asking, why do you think that they're attacking the community at this moment right now?
Because they have nothing else to offer. They have absolutely nothing else to offer. They have no material or real way of improving the lives of everyday Floridians. And so what they're doing is turning this into a culture war instead.
I think, and also to add on to that is that this is an unprecedented time, especially given the edge that they have over us here in the state of Florida. They're pushing to do as much as they can now because the election is a year away, and depending on how these bills are implemented and put up, they could gain more traction from the people in this state, which would give him more for other things. It would help other states learn how to do the same thing. If they can be the blueprint, they can do this in a lot of other places. And sadly, here, they have that power right now to get things pushed further than they've ever had before.
Yeah, and let me put it even, narcissists in Florida that see themselves as the future president of the United States. And so one of them is seeking to differentiate himself by being far worse than the other right now. And so that is what we're seeing. All of this is sort of a result of DeSantis trying to be as bad as possible and appeal to as far right of people as possible so that he can drum up support and sort of siphon it from the Trump crowd.
So if these things pass, is it possible to unpass them or to erase them? And how would you go about doing that?
That's a good question. So what someone in the audience just asked is, with these things being passed, is there a way to undo what has been done, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You want to take that?
So the good news is that we live in a democracy, allegedly.
Sorry.
Other parts of the
As of
country
now.
live in a democracy. Florida's is kind of stalled at the moment. And yes, things can always change, things can be undone, other laws can be passed to undo bad laws that are on the books. We've seen that happen all throughout US and Florida history. So yeah, I mean, the moment we get a favorable administration and a legislature that's willing to see us as human beings, we can then begin to undo some of the hurt that's been caused over the last 2 to 3 years.
And to get that in there requires votes, so people need to come and vote.
Yeah, so in order to do that, you guys would have, this is my part, this is my favorite part. You guys need to vote on a constant basis. You need to be voting for your county, you need to be registered to vote, you need to vote for everything from the judges to the city councilmen to the school board of directors now, because that's the thing that you have to pay attention to, because they're creeping into every aspect. As a matter of fact, while we were there, they passed, or they put a bill up for passing that literally anybody from any district can run for school board of any other district. They don't have to live in their district anymore. So if that passes, people who have no idea about the community that they're going to lead can lead that community and make changes. And this is not talking about the superintendent. This is talking about the person who has control over the community. So you have to be mindful of who's in your community and what community you live here. And speaking to that point, a lot of you in this room don't live in Hillsborough County. So you need to make sure that you're aware of your own county and helping your friends in this county know who to vote for, which, to my point, also Equality Florida has all that information readily available for you guys at any point in time. So it's definitely good to know how the knowledge you have can change the future. And although she's not here, she's watching. Catherine Nevitz and I are looking to bring back Pump the Vote. So please be on the market for that. We do not want you to feel like any stress or worry about how to register to vote, so please be on the lookout for that. We're gonna start now, we're not gonna wait until voting season happens. So that's our major goal for the local area, so please be on the lookout. If you wanna be a part of that, let me know so that I can get you in touch.
Yeah, and I'll actually add to that. It's not enough to vote. It's not enough just for you to vote. Everybody here, I guarantee you, has anywhere from 5 to 20 friends who are eligible to vote and are either not registered or they have no plans to vote. So it's great that you will go out and vote, and it's great that you'll order your mail ballot, but you need to make sure that all 5 to 20 of those friends are doing the same.
Like, seriously, we can have parties. I will pay for people to get absolutely wasted if you register to vote. I have no problem spending my money on that. I may not drink anymore, but I support drinking if it means you're registered to vote. Like, that's how I think.
Yes. Question?
Can we explain to everyone what those are actually passed and what it means for all of us?
Yeah, so what's being asked is an explanation of the bills that made it, were favorable, right? What is it? What's the term? Yeah, the bills were, as you go through the process, I think we should start there, right? So the way the process goes when we're in the room, so that you guys have an idea, we go into the room, we set up, and they allow the person who presented the bill to stand in front of everybody and give an explanation of the bill. At that point in time, they're cross-examined from both sides, being Democrat and Republican, and they're asked questions about the bill and about, you know, the safety of it, how it's going to affect the future, things like that. After that, they rebuttal. After that point, we get to question ourselves. And then any amendments that might be made to a bill or attempted to be made to the bill are presented, where we talk about that. We get to speak on that as people in the audience as well. From there, there's a vote that happens, or there's like a closing remarks statement that happens from all parties, including the person who presented the bill. After that, they vote on favorability. What that means is they say whether we agree with it or we don't agree with it. So first they'll strike down any amendments that they don't like, or they'll approve any amendments that they love, and then they'll go into the full bill. So what this is pretty much, you know what it is? Let me explain it to you in layman's terms. You guys go to school and you've all written a report before, right? You know how your teacher says you gotta have a rough draft first, and then you take it in and you get it set up, and you're like, okay, this is good, move this around. If it's perfect, we move on to the next phase. Go and do an edited form, the revised form. And then so after the revised form, they're gonna present the revised form, and then from there, if everything checks the boxes that they like, it'll go to the final, which is when it's approved by the governor. So that's basically what we did. We sat on the revision aspect of it. And this is scary because how easily it's approved. There isn't enough pushback to stop it. So each bill we sat in, whether it had amendments or not, they don't have enough pushback to stop it from getting to the next step. So everything is gonna keep traveling down that way because we don't have enough Senate seats on the democracy side, right?
Yeah, correct. We as in like the pro-LGBTQ faction of the legislature, we're in what's called a super minority status right now, so we don't even have enough seats in the legislature to throw up procedural roadblocks right now.
What was explained to us is that basically in our wonderful ending, the last one of the day, which was my favorite, or the last one of this trip, which was my favorite one, we pretty much found out that the seat needs at least 1/3 vote. And right now there are 86 Republicans to 35 Democrats. We don't even have enough to even play ball with these people. And so this is like being the bullied kid in the kickball line or the dodgeball line. We are just getting plucked out because we can't stand up strong enough. Not alone anyway. So, I mean, I know this might sound kind of daunting, but there is a plus side to what we plan to do for the future to make sure that no matter what goes through next or what happens next, we're heard and we're seen, okay? Any other questions before we move on?
Yes.
Actions that folks can take over these next 7 weeks that don't involve going to Tallahassee.
Say that again?
Actions that you can take over the next 7 weeks that do not include going to Tallahassee.
It's an excellent question to ask a fundraiser. So thank you for that question, Trevor. You can donate to Equality Florida directly by going to equalityflorida.org. The webpage that we have set up to collect donations actually directly pays for the lobbying work that we do. You can also donate to Angelique's fundraiser, which is
Drag to Tally.
Yeah, yours is private, so ours is like a public fundraiser.
To speak on that a little more, there's so many things you can do. Like, people feel like they can't do anything or they might feel helpless in certain situations, but remember, all the things that we're talking about today really do help. If you want to be more involved, we have an ambassador program that Nick can talk about that you guys can get involved in your local community through Equality Florida. You can be a part of your local steering committees for different things. There's different groups here in Florida, both LGBTQIA plus like initiated, and then also just for democracy that you can join that can teach you these things if you choose sillily not to do with Equality Florida. I don't know why you wouldn't go that way. But me personally, I joined them and I joined the steering committee, and it was the best decision I ever made. I was at the Tampa Pride meeting standing up for my fellow communities when he found me there, and he told me about this initiative, and I had no idea. Equality Florida has been in my back pocket since my arrival to Florida 10 years ago. And I've watched in the sidelines and heard the name, but I never had anyone approach me. And so when Nick came to me and said, we need your voice. Your voice is amazing. You have something. I was like, I don't really believe that, but sure, if you think I can do something, why not? But when we went to Tallahassee, before we even went, me and Brianna talked, and I was like, we gotta inform people when we get back. And I knew in that moment that I wanted to be for you guys what Nick was for me. I knew that if no one had ever came and told me what was going on behind the scenes, had no one ever said, this is what you're missing out on, I would have never stepped up. And I'm so happy that I did, because even when I thought I didn't have a voice, I just went to Tallahassee and spoke in front of 2 full committees, and now my face is all over the news. I'm gonna have to change my address, that's right. But the impact, the power that had on you guys, the messages I've received, the love I've been given, I'm getting messages from people all over the US telling me how happy they am that I'm a good representation for my people. Something I didn't think I had the power to be. That came from one person believing in me, seeing something in me that I couldn't see. And all of you showing up here today, even you online, you guys are having that power given to you right now. Your voices mean something. Even in a room that won't listen to you, being able to have the ability to stand up, to have a time period, even if it's only 30 freaking seconds, you know, you can get up and you can speak, and those 30 seconds can change someone else's lives. I got to sit with 13-year-old trans boy whose name is Grayson Powers, who I absolutely love and adore, and I became his unofficial auntie through his parents, because you know I like to adopt kids, I don't like to have kids. So I got that, and that experience in talking to them and hearing their struggle, that was something that I never would have gotten. I got to hear parents and teachers and different individuals who have the same story as me. I got to see other people who have the same background as me, with self-harm and depression and anxiety, and even as deep and sad as it was, the attempt of suicide I had on my own life years ago, the survival of that, my being here has so much more of a purpose now, because I'm here still, and I didn't give up. So you guys out there right now hearing this is your time to step up. We need every single body. And to that note, before I let anybody else question, Drag Totality is now moving into something so much bigger. We started off as Drag Queens United to Save Drag Queens, but now we're Drag Queens United to Save our community. And now we're actually taking that fight to Tallahassee in the form of a march. And that is what my fundraiser is about. It's about the local community coming together without the help of anybody, because we are more powerful together than separated. And that's what I was shown by Cityside and Erica PC, who threw a fundraiser in 48 hours and raised $6,000. That wasn't a business who gave us that money. That wasn't a corporation who gave us that money. That was our community. People who stood up, the same people who were in this room, the people who were watching at home, believed in me and Brianna. And look how that transformed. We took 9 people, and I told my crew, my 9, y'all know what I'm about to say. I told them last night at dinner, I said, I went into this not thinking I would have 1 more person, and I came here with 9. My goal is to go home tomorrow and come back with 18. And as I look in the room, I'm pretty sure I'm close to that number. I almost did that. So I want everybody to come to Tallahassee, and if you can't do it during our 8 weeks with Equality Florida, we want you with us on April 25th, okay? And that's a promise. We're working that out, and I'll go into more detail about how that works. But real quick, any other questions? Yes.
Are there any reservations on the tier teachers should have when going
Any reservations?
Yeah, like any
Are you concerned?
concerns, hesitance? 'Cause I want to go,
Mhm.
but right now, like Florida's.
No, I mean, I would say no. I know that DeSantis has a culture of retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not meeting with DeSantis when you go out there.
Right.
You're meeting with your legislators.
Your local legislators, if you like. So we had actually somebody in our group who was a teacher, and they met with a legislator who was in their county, and they were afraid to say. And I think we have it on film. I think we have it on film that he's like, no, you can tell me where you work. It's not a big idea. Like, it's not that. But like, we're just talking. So it's good for us to know the people and where they are. So when you go, I mean, I wouldn't go up there wearing your school uniform or like your name badge. But I mean, you can go up there and protest. You have the right to that. While you still have it, I encourage you to do it now before they make it a bill where you can't. So definitely come up and be a part of it. Like I said, we had people from all walks of life, professors, even people in churches up there. So definitely don't have a reservation about coming up and speaking your mind. They need to hear your stories. They need to hear how you were affected.
Angelique, may I?
Yes.
Yeah, so hi. I had
One of my 9.
So I had a similar concern, I'm in a similar situation.
Thank you so much.
To go, is it just because there was found out this morning on the radio station that there was a group of women that went, they were mothers for something, not the Mothers for Liberty, Polkrack or whatever it was, but it was another group, and apparently they were kicked off of property for protesting or marching or coming as a group without a sponsor. So do you know anything about that?
No, I'm not familiar with that, but like Equality Florida is going to be there for the rest of the legislative session, so we are effectively your sponsor. Yeah. If you're coming up, you just plug into our organization, and you have access to the Capitol grounds, you have access to meetings with legislators. You as private citizens are allowed to attend these committee hearings and give public testimony. Who here pays taxes? That is your building. You're allowed in there. All of that it belongs to you, and it works for you.
Yeah, I think that in that case, I think if you're protesting or you're marching, you're not allowed to. But going to this event is as simple as registering. And literally, we have it on a QR code. It doesn't get simpler than that. You don't even need to type in the web address. But the idea is simply that you have access to that, and you can go at any time, and you can speak or you cannot speak. They even have an opportunity where you can just wave in support or wave in opposition. So they call your name, and technically they don't check ID, so you can say your name is Fanny Fufu, and I'm in support. You know, it's as crazy as that sounds, it's true. Like, you literally can put anything, and they're gonna say, Augustus Caesar? Yeah, Augustus Caesar. So, see how that works out for him. But yes, Jordan?
I do want to say, as a person that's a member of this community, to anyone that's worried about it, like, I see familiar faces that are here today, and I see people that care, and I want to know that, like, we did our hardest to represent you guys, and we love all of you, and we want to be up there. I'll be honest, inside that building, I felt safer there than at St. Pete with what's happening at Cocktail. I don't know if y'all seen their social media, but it's not cute. It's getting real, because the second that bill passed, when we watched it happen in real time, hours later,
attacks were made.
On our community.
Yeah, they're getting emboldened. It's emboldening the people outside of this building too. But it's I don't know, it's sad. But I don't want to focus too much on the sad shit because I don't want to cry again. I cried a lot. There's some video footage somewhere that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life because my mascara was gone, my lashes were gone. It was crazy. I look like a crazy woman. But does anybody have any other questions? Real quick? No.
No, I just want to thank you guys for.
We love you.
At this time,
I was just going to say, please grab the flyers. I literally just printed 1 hour ago.
yes, take them with you, share them. Even if you do the QR code, please do share them with them. The sign-in sheet, what does it have on it? Because we made this mistake.
The three of us, at least up here right now, bear with us. We want you to know what it was like for us sitting in the hearings. We want you to know the emotions that we felt, we went through, some of the stories that we heard. And mind you, it was from 12-year-olds to 80-year-olds, trans people, children, teachers, doctors, like Angelique said. And we were all preaching the same thing to a panel of blank faces. And it was hard, but the best thing we did was stand there and tell the stories. So Erica, do you want to go ahead and do your testimony? 30 seconds?
Yeah, so I first got into this because I heard about the whole situation, and I was like, we went to the emergency drag meeting, And immediately we went and started this fundraiser. We raised all this money to get us up there, and it was a total of 9 of us that went. So we're like, when we first get there, we're all just like, okay, well, we're gonna band together and like, we're gonna take down everything, you know? And then, you know, we got split up, which was actually a really good thing, because when we split up, we got to meet with other people. Those other people educated us on other insights that we didn't know, because originally I was like, you know, I'm gonna go and we're gonna go save drag, you know? And it would have been nice, but they didn't even bring that bill up yet, actually. When we got there, it was so many other things that were happening when it came to trans rights, and they're saying like, hey, one of the bills, you know, they're trying to save children, and within that is like essentially pronouns and getting permission slips to have principals. That was an amendment that they did. They shot it down. And you're sitting here and you have 2 Democrats over here and you have 8 Republicans over here. And we are pouring our hearts out. And they are sitting here either looking at their phones, looking at their laptops, and then when we get upset, they say, show us some respect. That was the thing that got me the most. It's like, you know, I'm paying all kinds of money on property taxes. I was like, the least you can do is sit there and look and listen to me while I'm speaking to you. I was like, you want respect, you get respect, and you provide it back. I was like, but they weren't even giving us that.
Come in for a landing.
So, and then that one, this one. Let's talk about your laugh. A whole other thing. But no, I tell you, like that first bill, it was really emotional, and a lot of people were out there and they were bawling their eyes out. And I got to the point, I didn't even get to speak that day. I wasn't there to speak for that portion of it. And I was just like, I started bawling, and I was like, you know what? I was like, now I'm mad. So I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna sit my butt down in that chair. And I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna look at every single female on that whole spot, and I'm gonna sit there and I'm just gonna stare them down and cry. I got 2 of them to crack, so I was kind of happy about that. But that was like, I was like, I could at least pull emotion from somebody. You know, and I was like, and I'm just like, I mean, I was boo-hoo crying, and it was the most I've cried in a long time. However, like all the people that we met and the people that we went with, like we are so much closer. We learned things about each other that probably none of you will ever want to know. But it actually turned out to be a really great trip, and if anybody can ever go to the Capitol, if you get a chance to go there and sit there, 2 days, just do 2 days, because that's what we did. It felt like a week. It really did feel like a week. I was like, but it really gives you the insight on the power that these people have. I was like, and we need to show our presence. We need to have our voices be heard. Because if we don't do that, then they're just gonna stomp all over us. And we can't let that happen. And we need to tell our friends. We need to tell our family. We need to tell our colleagues, like, this is what happened to me. Tell your story. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. I'm gonna go back out to my community. I'm gonna tell them what happened. And I mean, it was emotional. Like I have friends that are within the news and everything, and like they got the video footage of me doing my story, you know. And I was like, okay, well, we got a minute for this one, so maybe I could just do this whole thing. I had to revise it 3 times, so that way I could literally do my 30-second spiel. And one of the people came up and they're like, what was it that they said about Kate?
30 seconds.
Restricted to 30 seconds per testimony is the exact same thing as let them eat cake.
That's what it was.
So there were so many people, just so you know, there were so many people that signed to speak, midway, that we only got 30 seconds each to speak for 200 people essentially. So.
And they would just say, you know, I feel like we're gonna do more fundraisers to try and get other people up there at this point. I'm going to try and work with other local drag queens in the Tampa area and St. Pete area. Reach out to me if you want to have a fundraiser and you want to get your community involved. Then I can help jumpstart that as well. I'm here for the community. I want to make sure that I can do everything that I can as well. And I am going to stop talking. I need to bring it in for a landing. I'm going to hand it over to Lilith Black, which me and her become
I thought I was going to have to
really close now.
I had to step up from the shadows like that, and I was like, girl, come on. This is exactly why they only gave us 30 seconds. No, but coming up next for you guys is going to be Lilith Black.
Hello. Hi. So I had a bit of a different experience with this trip.
A little bit of context, I have a trans cousin. He just turned 16, I believe, and about a year ago, he attempted to take his life. And then he started getting gender affirming care. He came back home. He's happy. He believes he can have a future because of the care that he's been given. The reason he didn't want to continue is he didn't believe that there was going to be a future where he's allowed to be happy. And when I saw the bill being proposed, not only to limit gender affirming care for minors, but also to criminalize the parents and the doctors that are taking part, I had to do something. And I knew that I was going for a different reason. I knew that we were there to save drag in Florida, and I kind of felt like a lone wolf for my cause. So when the meeting started and we got all the information and everyone was so adamant on focusing on this bill, on the gender affirming care bill, everyone immediately dropped what they were doing and got on board. And that's when I knew that I was going to be with these people for a very long time. That these are our family members that stepped up when it was time and did exactly what needed to be done. Like, I can't express how close I've gotten to the people who came on this trip to me and how... And then we got into the actual Capitol. And that passion, that joy, it was still there, but with everything that happened, it started to kind of slip. We started going to meetings. It was off to a good start. I was alone. There was no other of the 9 in my group. But the first meeting was very good. We spoke to a senator that was supportive of us. I mean, it was kind of like preaching to the crowd. We were listened to, but it wasn't really going to change anything. So while it was a positive experience, kind of felt like time was starting to be wasted. And then we had 4 drop-ins, all with Republican representatives, or one Republican senator with several Republican representatives, and we were turned away every single time, which was disheartening, but we were ready to speak. It was time to go to the hearing for the gender affirming care. We got there, and the Surgeon General was spreading misinformation, was being drilled by Senator Loeb, who knew exactly what she was talking about. She knew the questions to ask to kind of discredit his qualifications. So did Senator Davis. They were the 2 who were supporting us on this bill. They brought lots of points that were blatantly disproven, but it didn't matter. A lot of these people don't care about what the truth is. They don't care about our experience, and that was solidified when for an hour people got up there, told their stories, their family stories, and were shut down immediately. And the thing I want to bring up about this specific meeting that doesn't necessarily get talked about outside of the room is the amendments, because you really get to see the people who are back there and what they think by the amendments that they're shutting down. The gender affirming care bill had an amendment. If you don't know, the bill supports state-sanctioned kidnapping. It will remove children from their supportive families if they're receiving the right care, and they can be put into foster care, they can be put into the system of the state, they can be put in the hands of abusive parents that don't want them to receive the care that they want. And the one amendment was just so that the court had to rule in the well-being of the child. They had to take the child's best interest into account. And that amendment was almost unanimously shut down. They don't care about the children they're claiming to protect. And that is what turned this trip for me from just being heard and being seen to knowing that this is going to be a long fight, but we have to be involved. And as hard as it was, going to dinner and trying to enjoy ourselves afterwards, we knew that it was only day one. And we had to come back again. And this is when things really started to click, when all of my meetings with senators, with representatives, were scheduled during the expansion of the Don't Say Gay bill. They didn't want us to be in that room while the hearing was happening. Because of my meetings, I missed the actual debate. I missed all of the information because they intentionally are trying to spread us out. Not only that, but several of the important bills that I wanted to sit in on, like one that was about disabilities, one that was about censorship, were scheduled around the same time, so that it was really hard to get into each of them. There was a higher learning bill that was right before and bled into the time of the gender affirming care bill. So it's not just a upfront, in the room sort of suppression. It's going a lot further than that. They're intentionally setting every little piece up to make sure that we fail. And that's why I wanted to bring up voting and getting other people to vote is very important. But the reason a lot of these people have these seats is because Florida, outside of these metropolitan areas, is very sparsely populated. There are large gerrymandered districts that are red because there are not a lot of people there. And a lot of people, both in this room and watching, will luckily soon become homeowners, and it's important for us to think about the future when making decisions on where to live. These sparsely populated areas can be flipped if we are strong enough to take them over. That is going to be the most effective way of getting these people out of these seats and taking back control of the House and Senate. Because no matter how much we vote in a district that is already represented by someone who's supporting us, that's not going to change the districts around us. There are so many things that we can do that don't involve being on the front lines and going up and speaking in person. And I just urge everyone who's watching to find those things, no matter how little it is, you're doing something. There's something that everyone can do for free, and that's talk, that's share, that's speak. And that's what everyone who's watching, everyone who showed up is here to do, and I just want to say thank you all for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Say,